Today, we're delighted to welcome three artists, Tai Xiangzhou, Zhang Xiaoli, and Wang Mansheng, each of whom either have ongoing museum exhibition or is about to open a new show at a prestigious institution, or a new series of works that will lead to exhibitions in the near future. This gives us a unique opportunity for a sneak peek into their works and a teaser to encourage you all to go to their exhibitions. Here, first, Mr. Tai Xiangzhou lives and works in Beijing. As both an artist and scholar, his work explores Chinese landscape representation and their origins in classical cosmology. Tai Xiangzhou will reflect on the role of ritual objects in ancestral worship as a means of understanding the unknown, and discuss how ink art can capture and convey the spiritual essence of these artifacts in a contemporary context, which leads to his current show at the Art Institute of Chicago, which just opened last Friday. I was so have the honor to be there and then attend the opening. It was such a great show. So I encourage all of you to go to Chicago and look at his show. Later on, we'll give some insights into that. And apart from that, we have two works of him here. It's about his approach to revitalizing the idealistic forms of landscape painting with a focus of these two works for Asia Week. Wang Mansheng here. Mansheng lives and works in Westchester County of New York. It's not so far away up north. He is a self-taught ink artist whose practice merges classical literati brushwork with experimental techniques, tools, and materials. His work draws inspiration from classical Chinese literature, reinterpreting its themes through dynamic composition. And very soon, Mansheng will have a very nice show at Huntington Library in Los Angeles. Later on, we'll have a sneak peek of the installation. It's like very fabulous paintings on silk, and it's unmounted, so we can see both sides, which is very unique. Here we are. Xiaoli lives and works in Toronto, Canada. She transforms classical Chinese medium through an interdisciplinary lens, blending art, science, and philosophy. Her recent work abandons defined boundaries, creating a fluid, ever-shifting world where matter merges and memory lingers. Influenced by her nomadic experiences, she draws from ancient wisdom and modern thought and juxtaposes classical landscapes with modern scientific elements. Through her innovative approach, Xiaoli breathes new life into classical traditions, infusing them with depth and renewed relevance. So for now, and welcome the artist. So Mr. Tai Xiangzhou will get a head start and introduce his show first at the Chicago Institute of Art. 我们先介绍一下那个芝加哥的那个这个展览。So Mr. Tai will speak in Chinese and I'll do the translation.
芝加哥这个展览，主要就是我画的一些青铜器，就包括芝加哥博物馆的馆藏，还有弗里尔博物馆的馆藏，还有台北故宫的馆藏的青铜器，还有2个收藏家的青铜器。这些呢，就是实际上是我对青铜器的一些研究。在这里面呢，因为青铜器它实际上是一个中国商代的艺术作品，它是非常伟大的一个作品。那所有的青铜器，它是我们人跟未知世界沟通的一个媒介。也就是说，艺术到底是做什么？那作为我来讲，就是我这次对于青铜器的这个精细的研究，主要是要展示，就是说我们古人对于青铜器它是怎么制造这件东西，它里面的这些纹样代表的是什么。
Okay. So the show at Chicago Institute of Art is about bronzes, archaic bronzes. He actually made realistic depictions of archaic bronzes from the collection of Chicago, Freer, and Taipei Palace Museum, as well as a couple of pieces from private collection. As we know, the archaic bronzes come from like Shang Dynasty. Those are all for ritual purposes. So he was trying to investigate the connections between human and the unknown world, and how ancient people their worldview about the world and how bronzes can help us understanding those. And through his detailed research on those bronzes, he will review more.
从这个明清以来，就是青铜器往往成了这个收藏，就是文人家里面的收藏艺术品。那在我来看呢，就是我们怎么样恢复它原来的这样，就是具有人文精心的这样。另外就是说，对于因为画了大概60件青铜器，所以对于青铜器里面的一些纹样，就有更深入的了解。比如说它里面画的，以往我们笼统叫饕餮纹，但现在就是说我很清晰的就会发现，它里面就是分成几种动物，比如说大象、鸟纹，还有这个其他的一些牛啊、羊等等的这些纹样，其实是有很清晰的指向性的。
Through from Ming and Qing dynasties, archaic bronzes actually became collectibles for literary artists. So Tai Xiangzhou was trying to do is to revive the worship of archaic bronzes among us. Through the over 60 different bronzes he has researched and studied and painted, he now gained a much deeper, in-depth understanding of the ornaments of the on the bronzes. For example, there is a very typical ornament that's a 饕餮纹, but now he thinks there are more elements involved in there, includes elephant, bird, ox, and rams.
那你知道，就是说，其实就是在中国历史上都讲国之大事，在祀于戎，就是一个国家最大的2件事情就是祭祀跟战争。那其实这都是跟时间有关系，所以这个青铜器的纹样，它的所有的动物，它的用法都跟时间有关系。
时间 ，OK. As we all know, in the ancient world, the two most important activities for a nation is worship and war, and both are involved with time.
那从这引申来讲，就是作为我来讲，其实我的所有的作品，全都是跟时间有关系。
All his works are in relevance with time.
那为什么？就是说，其实我们因为人呢是活在时间里，那我们人讲，我们就是不管是各种宗教，它都要到天国，其实就是超越时间了。像佛教也好，这个所有的宗教，那都是超越时间，包括中国的修仙也是超越时间。就是我们怎么样在人生和这个天堂之间能够穿梭？其实艺术所要表现的就是这个。
Well, for the entire history of human beings, it's about time and how we surpassing time, including like the Taoist priests. The ultimate goal is to surpass the time. Yeah.
那其实就是在这里面，就是我们可以通过各种各样的表现形式，来展示我们对于未知世界的一种描述和探索。
It's for us to through different representation and ways of representation to investigate the relevance between us and time. 然后 and also there is another show of him at Changsha Museum. So these are some of the installation works at Chicago Art Institute. There are some like really important bronzes, and on the far end you can see there is a big realistic depiction of the bronzes on that hanging scroll. That's Mr. Tai's work. And then this is an archaic jade. The jade is really small. As you can see on the left side, there is a mirror like showing you the other side of the jades. I went there and had a really close look. The depiction was really, really good. And he also included his like feelings and things he wants to say on the painting, on the hand scroll. That's another set of bronzes he painted. So that's really like very thorough research on the ornaments of the bronzes. Yeah, I think a lot of the even for the bronze scholars, they should have do some paintings about the bronzes so they know more about the ornaments. And then that's the show at Changsha Museum, right? So how about that one? The Hunan省博物院Hunan Provincial Museum of Art. 这个呢？
这个是今年是湖南省博物院这个马王堆发掘50周年，所以在50周年的时候呢，就是在2年前吧，我就是跟他们学术部讨论，就是做一批这个，就创作一批作品来呼应马王堆。它里面的，因为它出土了大量的汉代的艺术，就是我们当代艺术家的眼光怎么样来看待汉代的艺术，然后它能够解释它的一些基本的一些原理。
This is the 50-year anniversary of the discovery of Ma Wangdui in Hunan province. So the Hunan Provincial Art Museum actually organized the show and included a group of different contemporary artists and asked them to create art in response to the discovery of Ma Wangdui.
就当代艺术家就我一个人。
Oh, okay. It's actually just for him. Oh, he's understanding about Ma Wangdui. Okay.
这里面就是一共展了我67件作品。
There are about 67 pieces shown there, and actually, by the way, the show has been extended to May, so all of you still have a chance to go to Hunan and see his collection. Wow.
就是你会看一个新媒体作品。
好的，可以。
在里面还加了一个2分多钟的新媒体作品，跟一个音乐人一起来合作，他专门写了为我这个作品写了音乐。
Wow, very impressive.
其实就是为什么我放一个作品呢？就是也有声音的作品，在今天这个时间点，就它更加能够吸引眼球。如果我们画了过去在宣纸上，在传统的这些媒材上画的作品，就是 一定要有一定的尺幅，才能够让人感受到这种视觉的冲击力。那我这个大屏呢是在湖南省博物院，这个大屏非常大，大概是高是5米，长大概是将近20米。
哇，
所以它给人的，如果你在那个跟前来看的话，它给人的视觉的冲击力就是特别强。
Well, he was saying, if we do like traditional ways of representation, like a hanging scroll, the size has to be so huge for people to have the visual impression. So he chose a new media format, and then the screen with the size of 5 meters by 20 meters long. So that's a decent screen, yeah.
那所有这些动画里的画呢，就图像呀，包括它的形象，又都是我的作品，就实际上它都是我的作品里的图像。我用这些作品呢，做了一些简单的动画，然后请了这个台湾的音乐人姚谦跟我合作，他做的曲，所以就是，然后还有一些小的 studio 跟我一起合作，把它完全把这些作品转化成动画的形式。
Okay.
大概3分钟。
Okay, so all the images and elements that actually came from his painting, and he invited Mr. Yao Qian, it's a music composer from Taiwan, to come up with this composition, and he also worked with some animation studios to animate the different elements from his paintings.
因为其实就是在马王堆，我们知道所有中国的墓葬都是后葬，其实所有的墓主人都是希望把他们生前最珍贵的东西带到地下，重新一种新的生活。那作品其实表现的就是又是一种超越时间的这种状态，就是把我们人生怎么样能够延续。
Well, now it's getting more very philosophical. In Han Dynasty, well, people are actually, taking the funeral or what's the things to go with you into the funeral?
The afterlife.
Yeah, like you put into the tomb,
Yeah.
and all those things put into the tomb. They actually, they're very well. They take all their belongings, actually, all the things they like, to the tomb. The owner, and then that's a way for them to extend their life, afterlife into the ground. So now it came back to the topic of how to surpass time. Yeah.
这个作品里面其中有一部分就是，如果这样来看的话，其实我们所有的水呢就是河流，就是天上的河流。这里面其实又牵扯到一个我们怎么样来面对古代的一个问题，就是你给我的这个问题。
Yeah, it's a passage, and then the water is like rivers and streams, and it's also a symbol of time passage, and then that goes back to where we started. Okay.
实际上就是我们看到人间的水，在古代它是跟天上的银河是对应的。
Yeah, he was saying the water and streams actually reflect the Milky Ways on the sky. It's how the galaxy. Yeah.
如果是这样来理解的话，就是水其实可以成为任何的形状。
Yeah, according to it's a Taoist philosophy where water is shapeless. Put in a teapot, it's the shape of teapot.
在长沙这个展览里面呢，我是还有一个系列就是潇湘的系列。因为潇湘就是屈原他有这个楚辞里面的写潇湘，那它也代表的是
And there is another series of works at the Hunan Provincial Museum. It's the theme of Xiao and Xiang, the two very famous river in Changsha, in Hunan province. That's where Qu Yuan, a patriot of in Chu County, and then he actually drowned because for historical reasons. Yeah.
这个展厅里面就是那2张在一个画布上的画，就是这个潇湘系列的其中这个同一个系列2件。
And these two paintings on the back of the wall, you can see that's actually Chinese paintings on canvas, which it's a new form of expression from Tai. And these are actually from the series of Xiao and Xiang. Yeah. Okay. Later on we'll dive into those two paintings, but you're more than welcome to look closer after the talk finishes. And now we give our attention to Mansheng and let him talk about his immersive exhibition at the well, that will be shown in Huntington. Here we have, it's on the screen.
Hey, okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our talk. Yeah, the Huntington Project is a part of the artist in residency program of Huntington Library, Museum, and Botanical Garden. We started talking about this residency program since 2020. So which, you know, everybody knows what happened later. So everything delayed until recently, they told me, said, oh, we can start it. So which interesting, everybody see the pandemic, what to give us the impact, what it give us. Xiangzhou just talk about it before we start. He told me at the Chicago Museum, the album of bronze was 40 different bronzes in 4 albums. That happened during the pandemic. I said, yes. So since we work the same kind of way during the pandemic, you feel like you don't want to paint large work. You are just caved in a small space. So I was also doing smaller work during the pandemic. I did some hand scroll, some album sets, which is quite interesting. You look, it's far away from Huntington, this project, but I look back, it's really a preparation, you know, get more knowledge, more detailed technique. And so those are small, but a very fine brush work that's prepare somehow, you know, get to this large scale. So when 2023, I feel like probably I have the sense, probably this project was soon, we will start it. So I can't just doing those fan painting like this size. So I have to prepare myself. In 2023, I did a series of large paintings, which is 6 feet the size, prepare for even larger. So this installation include 22 large scale soak panel. This time in my career, mostly I used all different kind of handmade paper. But since a few years ago, I had joined the group show at the Philadelphia Museum. I experimenting using silk. Because that's during the pandemic, the size is about 10 feet tall. It's no way to, in this short time, I can mount it. So I have to figure out a way to use the silk without mounting. So I just thought, oh, the silk of the material is transparent, so you can see through. So then, which I did 2-layer. The painting, the title called "The Tiger and Deer Drinking Together," which is during the pandemic. There's lots of things happened, the movement here and there. We're talking about the equal share of in the society and the share the resource. So I put a deer and tiger together. They're drinking from the same water hole. So I paint the first layer paint on paper, which is could installed on the wall. Then second layer hang on the surface of the paper, which is silk. I paint two tiger and deer, and filled with thousands of magnolia petals. So the two-layer petals put together, I feel like it's like the Pure Land. Only the Buddha's Pure Land, you can see the tiger and deer drinking together without fighting. So two layers, you look into it, the results quite interesting. It's like you see through a real magnolia tree, which meant in the spring, tons of thousands of petals together, layered and layered, that build up the deepness. That's quite an interesting fact. But at Philadelphia, the space is narrow, also a group show. There's not much room I can do how a lot. But this time I measured the Huntington, the space, to decided to do this, challenge myself using this, keep developing this work on silk or the raw silk, which you can see from both sides if you are not mounted. So this installation would include the 22 panels in the middle of the gallery. You walk in the show, it's in my mind, this imagination, what the show would be like is the gallery space, the wall all painted dark blue, which is a background. You walk into the gallery, it's like you go into a blue box. So this installation would hang from the ceiling in the middle of the gallery. It's like a floating white box, raw silk. Then the placement would kind of like 5 layers. You can walk into this box. You can walk around. Each turn is different view of nature. So the title, I call it Without Us. Without Us, this title is in my mind for many, many years. You know, I come to United States since 1996. So I back and forth all the time, every year to visit family. But making me nervous, what make me nervous is every took off and landing, you see this massive city covered by the steel and concrete building. Just the miles. It's kind of scary. I just thinking if my body, if I'm the earth, my body has all those stuff, concrete, steel, concrete building, I feel like I can't breathe. So from that point of view, I'm thinking about the earth and thinking about the relationship between human and the earth. So you know, everybody knows human is different from other species because we can make tools. So when I was a little, to study, oh, human is great, you know, different from other species, animals, we can make tools, or we are a great species. But because we can make tools, we do much more damage, much heavier damage. You look back at the dinosaur time and, you know, with elephant field on the earth, they eat plants, they didn't do left much. But today we build so much of things and you never can get rid of. So this is just the scary part, I think, deeper and scary more. So all the damage that we done and it's the races between human. The human race is all in different form, different size. You could have 2 people fighting, box fighting, or running for who can get the first Olympic. That's another race. But today's race, nuclear weapon, whatever, there's bigger and bigger. We get into AI time. The race with no way to stop, because during the race, we only can think how we win, no matter what kind of 手段, what kind of, yeah. Anyway, so pollute the earth or damage this and that, cut down all the trees and damage the water resource. Who cares? Because we want to win this battle. So only, I think, keep the earth pure and survive is the way it's without us. And I was also think no matter what, if right now we have 8.2 billion people on the earth. It's not like 100 years ago, there's less people. So just using very limit, just to keep you living, already we can do, we can produce so much of garbage. So that's only way I would think it's without us, the earth could continue. So this is like how you're working towards this. During the work, I have no holiday, no weekend, because I only have a year to finish the large scale work. So in my studio, I only could put the 2 or 3 panel together. So the 22 panel hang in one room in that kind of background with lighting. Because of the silk not mounted, it's a little bit of wave after using water, ink. It's a little bit of wave. The light hit on, it's rebounds to reflect the light differently. So I would imagine there would be silver shivering light hanging in the middle of the gallery. That's only my, I made a little model, 1/10 of the size, made a mini screen. That's the only thing I can play out the layout, how to do it. But I'm really looking forward to hang them together next month, end of next month. So the exhibition would start from the middle May 17th, run through to August, the 4th of August. So welcome anybody interested.
By the way, I saw the little replica or the little model. That looks really cute. It will be very impressive if you have all the exercise panels hanging on the wall and you see both sides. That'll be very cool. And on this here we have two of Mansheng's work. And then a lot of people were trying to combine the West and the East. But when I look at the paintings, of course, Mansheng will give a detailed explanation, but he actually used local sourced material to do the paintings with very Eastern spirit. So Mansheng, if you can talk about these two pieces for us, especially the material.
Because I'm a self-taught artist, I don't have any rule, and I don't have I have many different style of work. For me, I always think about the materials as like, for example, we see the Wenfang about the 4 treasures for Chinese scholars study, which people all say what kind of brush is the best, what kind of inkstone is the best, what paper is the best. But for me, I think there's no such a thing. What is the best is we can be flexible. We figure out best way to use this material. This material would be the best. So here's a 2 pieces of my work. They are on, it's in totally different style, and they are on different paper. This is the Western paper. This is a printing paper. The other one's on rice paper, like this piece. So I also using, this piece
The landscape.
and that piece, it's based on the earliest Chinese landscape poetry, famous poet Xie Lingyun. He's the founder of the Chinese landscape poetry about landscape. Before, there's a lot of poets write about the landscape, but he's focused on his experience hiking in the mountain. He could write from morning to the evening, how much things I see, what's the exciting things I see in the valley and on the peak. So I love Xie Lingyun's poem, and he built a house on the cliff, and he has another house in the valley. Of course, his great grandfather left him all those property, over 100 square kilometers. So he can just hiking in his property. So he would say, "Oh, in the morning I pick up a orchid flower from my garden, sprayed in the evening with frost. So in the evening, I climb up the cliff to this house on the cliff, and playing with the moonlight on the stone. So which is this title called The Moonlight on the Stone. You can feel the time when the moon moves, the shadows move. And this piece, I used the brush. It's a reed growing in the Hudson River. I trim the reed at the top when the fall, trim the top, make it to a brush shape to use as a brush. So anything I pick, I like to experiment.
Did you use like non-traditional ink for that painting?
Yes, this series I've been doing for probably 15 years or more. Every year develop a little more to find a more interesting way to use. I use a lot of a printing technique. In the Chinese painting, we all say 春法. 春法 is using the brush rub against the paper to create the texture. So that's called the 春法. So instead, using the brush slowly to build up the texture, I use a lot of a printing technique, like a monotype print, to get the texture. Then from abstract image, then bring out the image I saw, a real like mountain shape. So I build up the many layers. I use Chinese ink, black walnut ink, which I make from the black walnut fruit, which grow in the Hudson Valley a lot, everywhere. Then I also use egg tempera, also use acrylic. So each things have its own use, like acrylic could cover the area you don't want. But egg tempera, you can wash it off to have a more exposure underneath. So all the different color I have it the own use or purpose.
That's very cool. Every time when I look at the painting, it's very Chinese. But when I heard him talking about like the materials he used, he actually collected all the materials locally. So that's really a very nice way to combine his Eastern or East Asian spirit and local material, like that cross-cultural dialogue. And now we can turn into Xiaoli's work. Xiaoli brings us, like as many of you know, if you came here last year, Xiaoli has this whole series of Lego landscape, which was like very well received among US institutions and young collectors. But this year she brings us a new series of work, and we'll have Xiaoli to explain more about those.
I'm very happy to bring two of my very new pieces of work to this show. They are shown in the gallery room. You're very welcome to have a look at after the talk. And
Here, it's actually here on the screen.
Yeah.
Put it here. Okay. You'll find those two pieces later in the back office. Yeah.
I'm happy to give you a tiny tour if you would like to. And these two series actually derived from one of my earlier painting in 2023. That is one page where I depict an open book. And I limit the use of in my previous artworks, I use the traditional Chinese gongbi techniques and on silk. So it was like layers of colors, but in this new series, I limit my palette to only ink and golden and silver powder. So I want to rich minimalism at the same time, the rich ink tone at the same time, and also the golden and silver powder. It creates the glimmer, and when you see the work from different angle, it will glimmer in different ways. And so the right piece, the piece on the right, it's called the Wandering in Fractal Realms. It's actually like connection with my older series and new series. I got inspiration from the screen painting, and I use the screens to divide the space into like a maze-like space. In different on different screens, there's a different scenery with different energy strength, and also I use different techniques to paint it. And the right corner on the screen, there is darker star-like image, and I feel like it's an energy source and creates all the paintings. And the left side is like energetic water flow, and it kind of push the viewers to the more inner layer of the third layer of the screen, where the landscape, tranquil landscape is. And there are also tiny buildings there where you can like rest peacefully, like in the traditional landscape called Koju, a space where you can wander about and live in. And within the clouds that kind of dreamy clouds push you even further into the third layer of the space, where the starry sky is, and that gives you like moves you further away. And I also want to mention the upper right part of the painting. There are scholar stones, and I include that part as part of my understanding of the scholar stone. I feel like it's not only a miniature of the mountains or the nature. It's tiny holes. It's shaped. It's like miniature of the
universe.
Like miniature of the universe, the space of universe, where you have like different tunnels or different like doors opening to different passages. Thank you, and different passages to bring you to different dimensions of world. And the left part, 玄纯幽恒 series springs in the hidden reference. I use a more free way of painting style. Previously, I in like gongbi style, I made precise lines like to depict the shape very well. But in this one, I put aside that method. Instead, I developed the shape and the forms of the painting develops as the painting process grows. Yeah, and the forms and the shapes, they transform from one to another. Like you can see the water transform into mountains, and the mountains even melt into the clouds. And also there are there are holes of fires that open up new tunnels that brings you out of this world of the painting depicts. And also there is a star over there. It's like a cat eye or a star. It's like a something more eternal, witness the ever-changing world.
Well, as you know, as you probably not all of you know that Xiaoli came from a scientific background. He actually majored in biology when he was undergrad, so he actually brought in a lot of like scientific elements into her paintings, and also all those mysterious elements, very different, very distinctive. Now we have a couple of questions I'd like to ask each of the artists, and later on we can engage a more wide Q&A session. So first question I would like to ask is, as we can see that all of you have made a lot of like new improvements on your works, like how do you balance preserving traditional ink techniques while innovating through interdisciplinary approaches? 就是如何在创作的时候，我们如何这个取舍传统与创新？
其实这里面就是主要是我们要找到什么是就是绘画的原语言。那绘画的原语言其实它是一种生命状态。比如说我们看到这个画廊里面有这几棵竹子，那这几棵竹子它已经死了。它就变成一个纯物质的一个状态，它其实缺少了生命。那所有的生命状态呢，它是活的，它是可以被生长出来。所以就是说，如果作为艺术家，你理解了什么是生命的话，你的每一笔其实它都是一个生命状态，它是一笔连着一笔生发出来。
Okay, so for Ms. Tai Xiangzhou was saying, well, if you want to understand painting, you have to understand the fundamental philosophy or the source code of painting, which is the characters of life. So, for example, as we can see the bamboo here as a decorations here. So the bamboo used to be alive; they can grow, but now they're dead. They're like become decorations here. So they're just purely matters. The life doesn't involve in there. So life is about to growth. So for artists to understand the paintings or an artist, we need to understand the true meanings of life.
从历史上来讲，其实不同时期呢都有不同代表性的艺术品。那这些艺术品其实都是代表人和未知世界沟通的某种状态。那这种状态呢，它也是通过权力，然后成为一个普遍认识。
Through different eras, there are different types of artwork. But overall, he thinks it's all about human interaction with the unknown. And then it's about the understanding of power.
通过其实比如说一个国家，它通过一个权力，其实可以改变很多这个认识。就像Trump一样，它就改变所有的这个美国人的这种生活状态。那其实这里面就是说，艺术作品其实往往根据这些有权利的人的一些意识形态是有关系的，所以在不同时期呢，就会有不同时期的艺术的表现形式。
And power actually can adjust or alter your understandings of the world. And he actually used Trump as an example. He was saying Trump actually changed our perceptions or our understanding of the world. So art is also a ways to shape our understanding. Yeah.
其实就是那作为艺术家，其实你要了解你自己创作这些作品，在这个时代到底代表什么。那除了权力之外呢，其实我们还有另外一个方向，就是科学家对于整个世界的重新的解读。
as an artist, while we creating artwork, we need to understand what it represents. Science also shaped our understanding of the world.
那如果就像我说，如果你理解了生命的话，那我们现在已经对于世界的认识不断的，就是对于宇宙结构的认识不断的在探索到更小的粒子，比如说中微子。其实我们每个人都是由几十亿颗中微子，它是可以随意穿透我们的身体。如果你用中微子来创作作品的话，那如果你的脑子里面想的你的笔触就是中微子的笔触，那这个世界是可以任意缔造的。
As we of course, as we know more about life, and now we know there are so many different particles, like physics particles, and then there are like different, like very tiny particles that can actually cross, passing through our bodies. And then if we think our brush as one of those particles, we have a different understanding of painting.
那就是说，在这里面，其实我们所有的艺术作品是通过眼睛来发现
啊。
那通过眼睛来看到，都是对于光的这种物质。那我们构成世界的所有的物质，实际上都是由光和它的更小的基本单元，就是所谓的光子、量子等等这些吧。就在这里面，你这学习的越多，其实你就知道，不同时期人们想的都是一样的。
But from our human eyes, we only can see the well, if you see the painting, that's actually different shades of lights. But if you look back into history, actually people are still thinking, well, discussing about very similar thing.
所以就是包括像现在我们说 AI，其实它已经具有了生命体的这种状态。那这种生命体的状态，可能将来也会变成一种艺术家的创作的形式，或者说是我们的帮手。我们可以创造出来更加面向未来的这些新的。
And as we came to this artificial intelligence age, actually AI is now having that kind of resemblance of life, and hopefully in the future they will be very helpful in terms of for us creating artwork.
所以就是说，其实就是我们如果理解的，我们的画里其实就是一段代码。那这段代码，它的不断的这种生成，就构成了我们的所有的作品和我们对世界的理解。
Well, if you want, the brush we hold is actually a piece of code, and then through that code we can create like many different types of artwork. Okay. Now,
I learned art through calligraphy, through words. I grew up during the Cultural Revolution. That time it's a very violent time. One way I can protect myself is stay at home to writing, copying the old, style for calligraphy. So since 6 or 7 years old, I copy the Han Dynasty calligraphy of hour every day, sometimes even longer. So this continue like for half century. So that's the calligraphy related with lots of literature, poetry, those kind of things. So it's really get into your brain and get into your blood. You never can forget. So then I picked my major was classic literature, Chinese classic literature. So then I worked for television, the national television, CCTV for over 10 years, working documentary and so on. And I write my own texts. So the stories. So a lot of things I started from story, words, poetry. But I moved to United States since 1996. So I have been here almost 30 years, which I see a lot of different things, different culture, different, international art. I was telling Xiaoli before this talk, I would just come from the Met. I said I went to a photography show, very contemporary. So it's not necessarily all classic, but sometimes you bump into this show, the form, the language, the thoughts of this artist could inspire you. I would borrow a little bit and learn here and learn there from all different country, different culture. But my roots, for all those practice of calligraphy and reading Chinese poetry, the bottom of my heart is always toward that, no matter what kind of subject, trying to, this piece of work, I call it the ancient vine calligraphy. You can see the movement of calligraphy, especially the cursive writing, like Tang Dynasty Huaishu. And Huaishu, they describe the cursive style calligraphy, the movement, like two of snake racing across the street, across a road. So they move this way fast. You can think about the snake's body, long and thin, flexible, move like this. They tangle with each other. So that's the movement of cursive brushstroke. So I created a series of work. I call it the ancient vine calligraphy. So which I copied Xi Jing, the 3rd, 4th century famous scholars writing about the cursive calligraphy. He described all using nature to describe the cursive calligraphy.
很小力。
I think for me recently, I think about the movement of the brush and the movement, the sense and the movement of my body a lot. Previously, when I was doing gongbi, it's like a very fine line. So when I do it, I cannot move the rest of my body. I'll only use my right hand with the type some certain muscles to do it. But now I changed my lifestyle. I started doing morning exercise. I do swimming. Sometimes I do running, and I have a strange feeling that I feel my body more. I feel my legs, and this change of feeling actually influenced the change of my painting style. And this also reminds me of in ancient times, many calligraphy and painting master, they are actually like wujiang, or they are like warrior or master of playing sword. So I feel like that piece of the tradition, like the movement of the body, that when you write in calligraphy or when you paint, it actually concentrate into the brushwork. So when I did my new series of painting, I listened to music, and I would dance in my studio a little bit, and then I would stop painting. Thank you.
Okay, that's very energetic, and yeah, I wish that can be going on. And then now I'd like to ask, can you share examples of your personal experience or backgrounds that have influenced your reinterpretation of classical ink art? As we know, as mentioned said, he actually grew up in the face of Cultural Revolution. People actually stopped doing a lot of traditional stuff, but we can see that all of you have actually was strong influenced by classical ink art. So can you share with us? 就是自己的个体经验，如何影响了对自己对传统作品的理解，以及如何将自己的理解融入到传统里面去。
这个其实我们就是不仅理解， 我说的就是，我觉得我们要理解我们为什么要做一个艺术家，这比较重要。因为在历史上，其实能够生存下来的艺术家是寥寥无几。所以就是在做艺术家这条路上，就是你要找到你和这个世界，就你怎么样来看这个世界是这样。就比如说，在我来看，就是我要找到各个时期，到底什么影响了这个艺术？比如说，在文艺复兴时期，我们认为光是直线，那所以它就有了透视学，有了写实主义，那到了1900年前后，那光子被大量的这个引用，然后呢，就我们认为光已经不是直线了，光已经变成了光子，那所以就有了印象派、颜色派，这样的作品。那到后来，这个光对于光的这认识到现在它已经到了中微子和量子这个阶段。那其实绘画它的这个视觉的呈现方式就有新的这种认识。那在这个对于科学的这种认识过程中边，我们到底应该呈现什么样的作品，这变成了其实一直在探索。
Okay. Well, for him, it's very important to understand the rationale of becoming an artist, and through the different through a different phase of history, actually the artists were focusing on a lot of different things. For example, during the Renaissance, the light is the most important part. Like all the artists was trying to creating the different shades on the canvas. But as science progress, we now have a much better understanding of what is light. For example, light probably doesn't even travel like in straight line, or it can. There are different particles in light which we didn't know before. So therefore, it's the most important is to present the work that matters to us the most. Yeah.
就是这里面就是有个关键点，就比如文艺复兴就是透视，1900年前后，就是其实是光子的认识。
During the Renaissance, the parallel perspective, single point perspective is the most important part.
就是说，那作为我们一个中国艺术家，我们会发现历史上能够存留下来的艺术家，比如说300年，可能只有3、4个代表性的人物。那我们自己的作品怎么样能够代表未来性？其实这是要做。
Through the hundreds of years, there are actually, if you count yourself, there are actually so few of artists that have left after all those years. So therefore, we need to create the artwork that can represent us.
所以就是说，对于艺术家，我觉得我们要学习历史，同时更要学习未来。我们要知道，就是未来会是一个什么样的状态，我们怎么样提前把这种状态画出来。
Well, that's very ambitious. He's saying artists like needs to learn about history, and also we need to not really forecast, but we need to understand like the trend of the future. By knowing that, by knowing the trend of the future, we can paint something that really matters.
如果我们不理解未来的话，我们的作品其实没有任何意义，因为作为模仿性的作品，在这个时代其实完全不需要。
We need to actually make something for the future. Like any sort of imitation is not so relevant. Yeah.
Well, earlier I talk about it. I grew up during the Cultural Revolution. That's my experience. And also another experience is working as a documentary maker for more than 10 years. I was telling a couple of friends the other day, they asked me if the television work would give you impact on your painting. I said, certainly, those 10 years of editing and your televisions all think about the image, how big this image should be. We say 大全景 is a panorama. and you zoom in will be detail. The editing, the earlier editing, each second was the 24 images. So you have to break to 24 images each second of the image. So when you edit, is you find one of the image, go with the next image. So for 10 years of thinking and looking at the image and put them together, it's later when I paint, you can paint any subject. You would just say which angle is the best. You have a long lens, how much you want to zoom in, what part you want to show people, what you feel that's the most powerful, kind of moving the viewer. So that's, I think, the television career gave me some impact.
For me, maybe the migration experience and the start of aging experience I would like to talk about. First, I'm going to say, I'll talk about my migration experience. I lived in Hong Kong for 7 years, and I moved to Beijing for 8 years. And in 2023, I moved to Toronto. Last year, I spent 3 months in New York and moved to three cities in Ontario, and try my best to set up a new studio. I experienced, during the migration, I experienced saying goodbye to my beloved studio in Beijing and my beautiful garden. And I have to say temporary goodbye to my cats. Now we reunion. And to some of my loved objects. And this experience kind of changed my sense to the objects or the surrounding environments, the sense of my surroundings. They are not these surroundings are not very solid in my memory, or as I feel it's more like a fluid. It's ever changing. Nothing is with me for a long time. It's here with me forever. So this kind of feeling helps motivated me to change my painting, changed my painting style to paint a more fluid works. And the second experience is the maybe sense of started aging. I'm in my mid-30s, and
so very very old.
I feel a sense of changing of taste in when I have a visual experience. Previously, in my 20s, I prefer very vibrant colors and but now I started to like more ink, monotone style. I was a little bit anxiety. Am I having less sensitive to colors? But then I some aesthetics and philosophy in Chinese art, some words comes in, a phrase come into me, 仙俗抱朴 or 五色令人目盲. So I started to change my way of understanding the Chinese ink art. I feel like it might be a potential way of seeing or potential solution of when we perceive the words in as we aging. It's also it's sad, but we cannot avoid. It's the number of photos our eyes receive in our 20s compared to in our 60s is like a double. So we receive less and less photons in like as we age. So kind of the world becomes less bright, but at the same time, like with the wisdom of Chinese art, we see the like less bright world, but in a in a monotone but more clear way. Like we don't see that much color, but actually we see clearer. That's the part of like Chinese aesthetic and philosophy that I think about a lot and influenced me a lot recently.
Okay. Actually, don't worry about like actually a lot of Chinese like artists actually they didn't develop their like mature style until slightly later time. So yeah. So okay. So the next question would be what role do traditional philosophical and spiritual ideas play in your contemporary artistic practice, particularly in connecting historical artifacts or literature to your work? 就是传统方面对您这个创作产生的影响。
传统其实是一种，我说是一种修养。就是说你作为一个使用这个艺术家来讲，你肯定要了解，过去的历史和一些重要的艺术家的他的创作方法，就他包括他的艺术思想和创作方法都是要就是耳熟能详的，就是不管是书法作品还是艺术作品，就是不仅要学习，还要不断的去练习。
Actually, tradition is a way of living, and then it's an artistic ideal and methodology, and you have to keep practicing and become part of yourself.
最主要的是还是我们要理解，就是这些艺术家在不同时期他们想的是什么，我们怎么能就是针对他这个时代更深入的思考，然后把它和我们这个时代平行来看待，然后重新发现我们的创作。
The most, as I mentioned again, the most important part of art is to understand the artist from different part of the history, and then like what they think about and how we create things for the future.
所以这是我们就作为今天艺术家应该。
Okay, that's something we need to do as a contemporary artist.
In the past 10 years, I used a couple of times the words from Confucius as my exhibition title, which is 文质彬彬然后君子。文质彬彬, one is decoration. 质 is natural. 彬彬 is kind of like the balance. Only if you have a, when you come out and have a talk, you have to choose in the clothes, what you dressed up. You can't just with garden stuff you come out. That's called a one. I little bit decorated myself a little bit. 质 is totally natural. There's no decoration, nothing. Only the roughness, the wildness, and the decoration equally balanced well, then you can become a gentleman. This is Confucius talk about how do you become a gentleman. But I think doing art, it's the same thing. You create a piece of art. You're trying to find some kind of balance. There's many angles to see this. So many pieces of my work, I think about this balance as a person, also as a piece of artwork. But the same, it's not fit with many contemporary art. So a lot of contemporary art seems looking for chaos or some kind of struggle or whatever to make you uncomfortable. So I'm still trying to figure out what is the purpose and what the human being get to, what stage we get to.
The artworks I recently think a lot about is maybe the painting of the Yuan Dynasty, like the work of Wang, Shanzhu, or the works of Wang Meng. I started to understand like their 皴法, like the way how they create the texture. Like previously, it's 皴法is like in our class, 皴法is like a way of techniques, like how we create the texture of the mountains or the stones. When I read the Shanzhu of Wang and think about him like wandering in the Fuchunjiang for 9 years, like he wandering in the mountains and keep painting the hand scroll for 9 years. And I started to think that he's every time he observes the mountains, he sees the mountains differently. And because of the nature of the ink art painting, you cannot like cover the previous layers. You just leave the layers there and you paint another layer and another layer. And it's like the 皴法feels like every time you observe the mountain, you have an impression. And after some time, you look at it again, you have another impression. It may or may not be the same as the previous impression. So every time you observe, you have an impression and you paint, and layers by layers, and it's like a shaking. It's like ever-changing, shaking layers by layers of observing that accumulate onto the papers or onto the works that becomes the 皴法 and becomes the mountain shape. Yeah, that inspires me to do the my new series too.